got some concerns about children programming, specifically when it comes to one particular show, but then there's another one that I feel as though I shouldn't really address on this channel. And speaking of which, this would be a good time to sort of discuss where I plan to take this channel. So welcome back to my channel where I talk about animation news, I have editorials, and on the weekends I attempt to post reviews. So for a while I've debated on how young I should be taking my reviews. And the thing is, there's a certain level that as an adult talking about animated properties that at some point you're going to come across material that is designed for a specifically like for really little kids. And because at this point I do find myself enjoying the fact that like I could help parents sort of navigate which material can be appropriate for these kids. These reviews, these editorials, they're not made for kids. And if I feel like I touch on the really young materials, say like Bluey or Cocomelon, this is an area that I feel like would confuse a lot of people. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like there really isn't much I can contribute, and I'm sure there's child psychologists and professionals that I feel like would be more equipped and have better opinions when it comes to talking about shows that are specifically geared towards educational development and whatnot. I'm just here to talk about animation as an art form and, make jokes about it every once in a while. And, I feel like it would be tougher to really nail that. And specifically because there are two movies coming out based on these properties that this might be the only time that I'll really talk about these materials, and then say the future comes up, probably not really bring it up anymore than this. Like Playhouse Disney and Dick Jr., if they still call it that, is not my wheelhouse. But there is something interesting about the fact that you have these two movies coming out. One is Cocomelon, and the other one is Bluey, that I think show two sides of children's programming. So let's start with the good. And I do think there is a lot of good when it comes to Bluey. I can't say that I'm an expert on this show, but I know a lot of adults who have children who prefer Bluey, enjoy watching Bluey with their kids, identify with the parents, and find that the show offers a very genuine approach when it comes to parenting, as well as just providing something entertaining for the children. And you go on YouTube, there's a lot of transparency when it comes to the creators and what they intend to do when they're making this show, that it gives parents a more, trusting feel for this brand. So to no surprise, during D23, as I mentioned in my previous video, where I could see myself talking about a lot of material because they went over a lot of animation news, that a Bluey movie is coming to theaters. Now, a lot of people are concerned because instead of going for the traditional, I don't even want to say traditional animation because it is very focused on computers when it comes to like the actual movements and motion tweens and whatnot. They're just going for straight up computer animation with 3D models, and I think it looks cute. Like I said, I have no personal attachment to Bluey, and whether you do and this is a distraction for you, I could kind of understand that. But to me personally, I don't think it differs that much from what you are seeing in the show. So to say that it's this horrible thing would just feel very disingenuous of me to really say that. So I would say that overall looks like an interesting movie coming up, but like I said, I just don't have much of an opinion or much else to really say about it. But then on the other side, you have something like Cocomelon, which I have concerns about, mostly because, as I mentioned before, I know a lot of parents, I know a lot of educators who work with children, and when it comes to Cocomelon, the work they do to make that show has me asking a lot of questions. So I did some research. It's online, it's published, where they use distractor tests, where they will specifically subject children to watch the show, and if they notice that the child is distracted, they will put more colors, they will add more movement, they will create more cuts, there isn't a cut that's longer than 3 seconds when you're watching an episode of Cocomelon. And as most doctors and pediatricians, specifically the American Association of Pediatricians, say, they have concerns about this because you're essentially dopamine hiking all this material for children. And that, in a lot of ways, can lead to a lot of problems going forward into the future. And the fact that this is widely published and yet it's still on TV and it's getting a movie has me a little bit concerned, because rather than making a quality show that focuses on storytelling, you're just taking what children's entertainment has done for years, putting it into a blender and just going extra with it, going an extra mile with it. And in a lot of ways, watching Cocomelon maybe once in a while is not a big deal. It's free on YouTube, you know. But at the same time, too, with all the commercials, and I know you're probably going to see it when you're watching my video, that there's going to be an ad every once in a while. For children to watch that as opposed to maybe something a little bit more streamlined, not having ads, a little bit slower, is probably going to be better for the development, the emotional, and development of your children. Again, but like I said earlier, I feel like this is just my opinion on this, and really why I don't feel like I want to delve into that. Because really, I kind of just want to stay away from like the really young kid stuff. I just think it's interesting that you got both of these properties having movies, whereas on one hand you have a show that's been very transparent. Both shows have been transparent when it comes to the way they're making it, but by their transparency, I think one hurts it versus another one celebrating it, where I think it's better to maybe just focus on something, say, like the Bluey movie, as opposed to maybe watching something like Cocomelon, which I think has more harm than it does good. And there's just plenty of great stuff that you could watch in the meantime, too. Sesame Street is still kicking. Am I a fan that there's policy that is, ruining children's television, public broadcasting, and the cutting of PBS? Yeah, but that's a discussion for another time or ever. Like I said, I really don't want to focus on this. But I'm glad you stuck around for as long as you did, because this really does get me wanting to discuss and have an update. Maybe treat this as sort of like my, monthly review of where things are going with the channel. So I appreciate you sticking around for as long as you did to get to this point. So I feel like this is an appropriate time to discuss that my last Saturday, no video was posted. No short was posted. No video was posted. I mentioned a week before, I had a Madagascar review that is in development. And like I said, it is still being developed. The copyright system is not perfect on YouTube. It has improved from when I last started making videos, where you can have specific timestamps of where people are flagging it, but even that, it's not a perfect system. So as you would imagine, when it comes to making videos that use copyrighted footage and copyrighted material, it's going to take a little bit longer to find and make these videos. Yes, ignore the fact that there's a train station right next to me. Hopefully you didn't hear that, and I'll be putting the audio sensors on. Whatever. Maybe what I just said made no sense because you probably didn't hear a train at all go by. So I try to have the intention of trying to get 4 videos a week. 2 of them shorts, 2 of them editorials like I'm doing today, as well as a review on Saturdays. But like I said, it's mostly an intention. Shorts have been coming in handy, and I'm noticing that that's where a bulk of my viewership is coming from, which I guess YouTube favors you watching views on shorts just as much as they do when you're watching them on the videos. It's really complicated, and I don't know the science behind this. All I know is I'm trying to walk the line between enjoying what I'm doing and having some discipline. That's always been my struggle. It was my struggle when I was doing the alphabet superset. It was the struggle when I was producing these videos when I was, living in my other apartment, making the videos then. And this is kind of where I am right now when it comes to, this is my channel and this is the material I want to make, and I want it to be consistent, but I also want it to be good. So just be patient. I do plan to have consistency in a video, having material a week. My overall goal is to try to have like 200 videos and shorts by the end of this year. Starting from July, I'm going to post a calendar that I made. Yes, I use ChatGPT to make this calendar, but it is for personal use as opposed to me publishing it as my own. But it's really just a reference guide of when to post my videos from July 2026 to July 2027 to try to get 200 videos and shorts posted within that time. The red dot, as you can see up there, that's to the missed week. So at this point, for 2 months straight and only missing one deadline, I feel okay with that. I'm a little ashamed, but like I said, trying to run into that issue of discipline, but also enjoying what I'm doing. So, what does this all mean? This means that you're going to be getting videos every week. A lot of times I am going to try to make them more polished and say videos like this. Shorts, I can get very creative with. Sometimes I'm taking footage from old videos and I'm repurposing it, or I come up with some new shorts, and I have a lot of good ideas when it comes to like shorter reviews, shorter fun conversation starters, like my Robin Hood discussion. But then I also had an idea for like other reviews, which is because the copyright system has gotten better when it gives you specific time frames and timestamps as to when the video is flagged, it got me thinking that I could re-edit my old videos, delete the old ones that are flagged, repurpose them so that the copyright does not affect it, so that in essence you have a video that not only isn't getting flagged and other people can't watch it, but basically, you know, it's safer and it's material that I felt very proud of in the past and want to encourage people to still watch. So if you think this is a good idea, let me know in the comment section below. As always, I appreciate you sticking around. Hit that like button if you like this material, subscribe to the channel if you like what you see, and hit the bell notification if you want to get more notifications on when this material is coming out. As always, it's a pleasure making these videos, and I hope to see you soon on the Cartoon Palooza. Take care.